Hello and welcome to the Cottage Life Show. My name is Adam Kreek, and today I'm talking about your health. So I want to ask you a question. What's your health worth to you? When you're sitting on the dock at your cottage, you're sitting underneath the trees, listening to the wind rustle through, or you're listening to the fire crackle, what would it be worth to you to spend an extra 10 years, an extra 20 years, an extra 30 years at this property, to enjoy it, to have more life in your years and more years in your life? You know, at Oar Board and at Whitehall Spirit Rowing, we believe in fitness, fun, and adventure. We have an incredible and inspirational group of people who purchase this equipment and use this equipment. I'm inspired every day when I come into contact with the users of our equipment. We have people who have survived breast cancer, who are recovering from PTSD, who have heart disease, diabetes, who've recovered from cancer. Rowing is a very vital sport, and it's a very healthy sport, and it helps build a strong baseline of strength in the body, as well as a lot of resilience in what we have. And myself, Adam, I know a little bit about rowing because I've spent a lot of time in boats. I went to the Olympics a couple times. I went to the Athens Olympics. I went to the Beijing Olympics. Here's a picture of me right here. Well, that's my buddy Malcolm. That's my buddy Dom. And there's me. I'm still getting used to the green screen. There's me when I had hair. That's us winning the Beijing Olympics. I also hopped on a little rowboat, and I took this rowboat around Vancouver Island. It took us 24 days to circumnavigate Vancouver Island, and we took this rowboat as well across the Atlantic Ocean. And so I think Diana's looking for a picture of it right now. Do we got it? Oh yeah, there it is. And we've got it. I took this boat, and when we were taking the boat across the ocean, and even circumnavigating Vancouver Island, we would row for 12 hours every single day. But now that's not what I do. I'm no longer an extreme athlete or an Olympic athlete. In fact, I'm a dad. I'm a husband. I'm a working stiff, and I'm a published author. Here's a picture of my book right here. And we have an offer too. If you end up purchasing a book today at the boat show, we'll give you a free book. We'll throw it in with the package. All you have to do is ask. And I'm also a cottager. There are two places that I absolutely love to cottage. My wife has a cottage property in Western Quebec in a place called Norway Bay near Arnprior on the Ottawa River, Arnprior, Ontario. I also love to cottage on Quadra Island, which is north of where I am on Vancouver Island and one of the Gulf Islands. So I love spending time in the cottage with my kids, with my wife, even with the grandparents, enjoying the great outdoors. And that's why I love these boats, because these boats are good for children, they're good for adults, they're good for mature adults, and they're good for seniors. So again, putting years in your life and life in your years. So let's get back to the point, or I guess the title of this talk. What's oars got to do with it? What's oars but a full-bodied motion? What's oars got to do with it? You need less pills when your body's in motion. You like that? So rowing is actually very good for your health. And when you hop on a rowing boat and you use the rowing motion, you're not just using your arm, you're using your back, your lats, your core. The riggers slide on our boats, the seat slides on our boats. So you're using your glutes, your quads, your hamstrings, your soleus, your calf, your feet. You're using so many of your muscles. And it's not just good for your muscular health, it's also good for your aerobic health. When I talk about aerobic health, I talk about creating energy with oxygen through your breath. And you become more aerobically strong when you spend more time on these rowboats. It's also good for anaerobic health. When we say anaerobic health, it's the ability of your body to create energy without oxygen. So we're talking about glycogen, which are types of sugars that are stored in our muscles, stored in our liver. I'm talking about mitochondrial density, which are these little powerhouses of the cells that create ATP that give us energy. And when we spend more time on these rowboats, we generate more power in our body, more energy in our body. And not just aerobic and anaerobic health and muscular health, we also are able to be more flexible. We're able to gain more flexibility in how we operate. We're able to gain more mobility, which is a combination of strength and flexibility. And spending time on rowboats also helps us keep our balance. And here I am standing on one foot. So rowing can do a lot of good for us. And when we spend time at our cottage, we're looking for some downtime. You know, we're sitting there, we're eating good food, maybe we're drinking a little bit too much, maybe if you're a smoker, you're smoking a little bit too much, and we get social. But with all that downtime, we also need some uptime. We need some uptime at the cottage to recreate, to recreate ourselves. And when I say recreate or recreate, it's about recreating our body and recreating our soul. And it doesn't take a lot of time to actually go through the recreational process. You know, when I was training for the Olympics, I would train 5 to 7 hours a day. When I was rowing across the ocean, we'd be rowing for 12 hours a day. But all you need to do with one of these pieces of rowing equipment at the cottage is spend 45 minutes once, twice, 3 times per week. 3 times per week, you're rowing or doing some other kind of activity that keeps you going. And the beauty of rowing is that it's hyper efficient, it's low impact, and it's less like exercise and more like relaxercise. I ran into an avid user of our boats yesterday, and he said, I can only walk so much. I can only go on so many walks. Instead of going on my walk, I go on my Whitehall Spirit rowboat, and I get the activity and the exercise I need for my health. And not only is it good for our physical health, it's good for our spiritual health. When we get out and you push off the dock, you push off the shore, you've disconnected from all the politics, all the family bickerings, all of the cottage community back talk that seems to exist, and you're alone. You're connected with nature. You're connected with the higher spirit. You're connected with the animals that abound. You know, have you ever been eye to eye with an eagle on a rowboat? I have. It's a magical experience. Have you laughed with the loons, swam with the seals, gone diving with the ducks? There's so many incredible things that you can do connecting with nature, yourself, the higher spirit, the higher power. And as well as connecting with nature, you're also pumping blood, you're pumping fluid. If you're into Chinese medicine, you're circulating your qi as you're out there moving over the water. So we know there's a lot of benefits. There's physical benefits, there's spiritual benefits, there's even mental benefits. We know through the sport of rowing, going out is like meditating. And in fact, teaches you how to focus. It gives your brain a rest, and it allows you to be smarter, that you can retain more information, and you can be sharper and wittier when you're thinking of things just by spending time focusing on rowing, learning a new skill. So I've talked a lot about the benefits of rowing. It's better for the body, for the mind, for the spirit. And so you probably have a few questions like, how much do these boats weigh? So I'll start with how much they weigh, because it means that they're all very manageable for all types of body size and all types of ability. And let's start with the classic boats. And we'll put the picture up here and you can see they're beautiful. We've got brass, we've got teak wood, and if you look closely, there's even some fine leather work that's put in. These are all handmade here in our workshop in Victoria, BC, under our master boat maker, Colin Rolls, designed by Harold Alm, who invented these boats. They are well made. They're built to last 100 years. And these boats weigh maybe 250 pounds. And yourself with the right dock or the right dolly, one person can easily handle them and pull them up on a frictionless plastic dock or pull them up onto a dolly. The next boats in our line are the copolymer boats right here. And here we've got one of the copolymer boats. For those of you who are hockey fans, If you look really closely at this guy, you might recognize him. It's Ron McLean. I took him out, and there's my son, Jefferson. Ron, and I, we went out for a row one day when he was in town for hometown hockey. He was doing some hometown hockey work here. It's a good little day trip. These copolymer boats, again, they're built here in Victoria, BC. You can see you can row them in a double or a single. So the double weighs around 200 pounds, which is around 90 kilograms. The single is around 150 pounds, which is more like 68 kilograms. Now let's move to the oar board. And the oar board is what's sitting right here behind me. And we'll put a picture up for you too. The oar board itself comes in two parts. We'll have the part that straps on top of the stand-up paddleboard and the stand-up paddleboard itself. So this part right here, the oar board unit, this weighs 48 pounds if you were to break this into pieces. The oars each, the two-part oars, they weigh around 5 pounds each. And then we have the top carriage and the bottom carriage, which weigh less than 20 pounds each. It's very easy to manage, very easy to move around, and I'll show you later how easy it is to disassemble and reassemble these boats. So let's talk about cost, and let's talk about how much these boats actually cost. So let's start back with the classic boats. And so if you think about the classic boats, teak lined, brass, to buy one of these boats is $65,000. $65,000 to buy the top of the line best rowing boat. And guess what? You can't take it with you. You want more life in your years in your life. You want to buy a boat that becomes part of your cottage property, that becomes inherited, moves down the line, that when your grandchildren's children ride this boat, they can tell stories and say, my grandfather purchased this boat, and here are the memories I have in this boat. What a legacy piece you can purchase and incorporate into your cottage property and into your family culture. So that's what these boats are built for. You can get them for anywhere between $30,000 and $65,000. They're custom made, and there's a lot of different choices that you can make to make these boats fit your family and what you want to accomplish with them. When we move down the line, we've got the copolymer boats. These boats, there's one that was rowed right by an iceberg. I love that shot. These boats are very rugged. They're good in the waves. You can also notice they've got the pleated sides. And the pleated sides add a lot of flexibility. You see her throwing the boat in the water. It's very easy for one person to navigate. These boats are, they cost anywhere between $20,000 and $12,000. It's very easy for one person to row, but you can throw a couple kids in, and I know I've done that. You can throw dogs in there. You can throw a little picnic lunch in, bring it up on a shore, on a beach that's a little bit more remote. We have a lot of fans who like to fish in these boats. It's great to onboard a giant muskie or a pike, or get some walleye. We've caught some salmon, lingcod. We've got a great story of catching a 45-pound lingcod in one of these boats. Oh my goodness. These boats are great. They're a lot of fun, very versatile. You can hook them up and do lots with them. And now finally in our line is the oar boards. And the oar boards are more affordable. They're anywhere between $2,200 to just around $6,000. And this is including a 20% discount. So if you go on the website right now, we have a special Cottage Life discount. It's listed on the website. And if you purchase within the next little while, you will be able to get the 20% discount. And when we're talking about freebies, I'll also say, if you're interested in getting a free book, ask for the book. I can sign the book. If you'd like, we'll send it. We'll throw it in as a Cottage Life Show special, just so that you make sure you mention this, because there's nothing mentioned about the free book on the website. So just ask for it. We'll send it to you with the purchase of one of these boats. And we have a number of different models in these boats. You can see right here is the single. That's a 13.4 that the woman closest to us is rowing. And we also have a 12-foot SUP that goes underneath. And we also have double. We have a double boat, and this is actually really fun. This is the boat that I own, that I like to bring my kids out on. We can put 2 people on. My wife and I can go on, or a friend and I can go on this boat, or we can take the oar board contraption off the top. We can just undo the buckles, take it off the top, and then you have an SUP that you can use. You can stand up paddleboard with it, or you can sit down. There's a lot of versatility. I love sending my kids out on it. They play around. They have a lot of fun, and they're very creative using this type of equipment. So as we go through this, I'm starting to see that we're getting close to the end of the time. And I just want to reinforce how easy it is to transport this oar board. And the oar board is really inventive and creative. There's nothing like it around the world. You can take these oars, you can take them apart. These are 2-part carbon fiber oars, very light, very easy to handle, very comfortable grips to hold on into your hand. And we have the oar board itself, which will come to you in a small box or a bag. And I'll pick up the bag right here, 48 pounds. It's not that much. If you look at it right here, it's about the size of a snowboard bag. This is how all of this equipment that you see above packs in. It will take you maybe 10 to 15 minutes your first time assembling it. And then when you get really good at it, it's maybe 5 to 10 minutes to pull it apart and put it back together. If you're using it semi-regularly, you leave it assembled, but if you have limited space, you can pack it up for the winter season at your cottage, put it in the corner, or if you're someone who likes to go around and row virgin waters. So if there's waters that are a bit farther away, you can pack up the oar board really easily. You don't need a big truck. You don't need a special car. You can just throw it in the back of, of your Honda Fit or your tiny Tesla S series, whatever you're driving, and take it around. So what I'll do, because I know that there's a number of questions that are coming in, I want to put it out to you guys who are watching and you gals who are watching, and make sure that I'm answering all the questions that you have now that we have this live interaction. And I'll turn it over to Diana to see what questions are coming in.
Someone just asked about the 16 that you were talking about. If it can also be rowed as a single.
Okay, can the 16 also be rowed as a single? And the answer is yes. And especially we have some people who are overweight. They are obese and they're using rowing to actually get their weight back into check. And they're using this rowing as a piece of a health journey. So we even have people who are in the 300-pound range who use the 16-footer as a rowing boat. So yes, you can row it as a single rowing boat. You don't have to be 300 pounds to do it. My son, who is 75 pounds, will be able to row the 16 on his own. So the 16 adds versatility and a lot of fun. So you're able to use the 16 in many different ways.
Danielle just wanted to let you know how much she liked your song.
Oh, Danielle, you like the song? Yes. I was practicing it with my daughter as we drove here this morning in the rain.
And how long does it take to inflate the paddleboard?
How long does it take to inflate the paddleboard? It will take you maybe anywhere between 8 and 15 minutes. We have a pump. The only pump I have is green. I'll see if I can hold it up in a way that you can see it. But no, you can't see it because I'm standing in front of a green screen. But we have pumps, and it's a hand pump that you use. You pump, and it'll take you anywhere between 8 and 15 minutes. Sometimes it's nice to have a couple people to trade off when you're pumping it up. It's a great pump because it inflates when you pull it up as well as when you push it down. Usually what happens is you'll inflate it once for the summer and then maybe top it up. You don't want to leave it out in the sun overheating, because what can happen especially with these inflatable SUPs, it will overheat. And have we had a couple times? I'm just going to ask the people in the past. Have we had any that have actually overheated and leaked out? No? Okay, so that hasn't happened with any of our boards, but I've heard that happening with some other boards. So sometimes it's wise just to let a little bit out if it's going to be in the sun. Best to store these in the shade if you have a boathouse or even just a covered area, not just to keep the sun off, but to keep the leaves and other other stray things falling from from the trees and the sky off the equipment. Another thing I wanted to talk about is that this Oar board has a sliding rigger. And most of you who've been exposed to rowboats in the past, you've either had a fixed seat or a sliding seat. You've probably never seen anything like this. The sliding rigger, one, makes rowing a lot easier, a lot more effective, and it actually shows you where the power comes. And this is where most of the power comes from. So if you are a leg man or a leg lady, exercise those legs, exercise that glute. That's what the sliding rigger does. It puts the power down. You end up generating a lot of energy, a lot of good exercise. It's very easy to row because your center of mass stays still. It's also very easy for people who've never rowed, who don't have experience, to learn with the sliding rigger. That's one of the benefits of the sliding rigger.
And Pat Hall is asking if you can install the Oar board on his own paddleboard.
Can you install the Oar board on your own paddleboard? Yes, and that's why we originally made the Oar board, so that it could fit on any paddleboard that's out there. And this is one of the benefits, I think, if you already have an SUP or a paddleboard in your cottage arsenal, you can add just another fitness exercise for only $2,200. And you have these special stainless steel buckles and straps that will go all the way around your existing paddleboard, and you can install it on that. So the Oar board works on almost any paddleboard that you have. It should be a standard paddleboard. There's some paddleboards where it wouldn't work as well. I've seen some of the thermoformed paddleboards that have divots in them, and they're the hard plastic ones. The Oar board doesn't strap on as well, but if you have some of the more classic stand-up paddleboards that you get at any board shop, fiberglass covered foam, or if you have your own inflatable, some of the more sporting ones, and not the budget models that you get at Canadian Tire or Costco. What other questions do we have?
Just a little bit about how easily it is to build yourself.
How easy is it to build it to yourself? Well, it's very, very easy. So if you look at this, there's some very simple plastic wing nuts, and I'm going to hold that up right there, see if you can see it. And as it focuses on me, there's these little plastic wing nuts. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plastic wing nuts that you can unscrew and screw together that help you assemble and disassemble it yourself. The riggers attach quite easily, and there's a special block on the back where we have another stainless steel wing nut. And I'm going to tell you that this is specially designed to work both on fresh water and in salt water. So if you have a saltwater cottage and a freshwater home, or you're moving back and forth, you can bring it to either type of water. And as you're looking at this right now, you can see how easy it is for me to pull off the top. And this is the wing rigger right here that comes off the top. Again, super easy for me to hold, easy to maneuver and move around. And as I look at this here, I'll take off the final wing nuts. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'll pop off the riggers right here. As I pop them off through the holes, be careful not to drop them, but you can see how easy they come and they fold in. They fold in nice. Aluminum riggers, anodized, they're made to last the elements. They're not going to rust. They're here to last for the ages. You're going to get many, many seasons of good use out of them. And you can also look at the bottom right here. Here, the foot, there's 3 places to put your feet. So if you're a shorter person, say you've got a small person in your family and a tall person in your family, and the small people and the tall people can enjoy using this paddleboard. this Oar Board unit. We've got another question about life jackets. Do you need to wear a life jacket when you're using this Oar Board? And the answer is yes. What we recommend is a special waistband life jacket. It has a little carbon dioxide cartridge in it that if you do get an emergency, you can pull it, or it's water activated and it will auto inflate, and then you'll have the emergency PFD, personal flotation device, with you when you go over, or if you go over. But that being said, these Oar Boards and even all of the different Whitehall boats that we offer are very, very stable. And what we like to say is these boats are for all water rowing. You can row them in all different types of water conditions. And so sometimes you get up in the morning, early morning, the water's glass, no one's there. And then it gets to be around 11 o'clock in the morning. Everyone's out there in their speed boats, they're water skiing, but you want to go out and row. Guess what? You can go out on one of these Oar Boards. You can go out in your Whitehall Classic. You can go out in your Whitehall Spirit thermoform boat, and you could row and ride the waves, and it doesn't even bother you. Sometimes it can be fun. You can surf the waves and have some fun with all the motor boats and the power boats and the wake. I can't say anything about the noise, but at least the wake won't bother you. And as well as with the weather too, when the wind comes up and you start getting larger waves, we can deal with that. Do we have any other questions?
Not so far.
Not so far. Well, we're getting close to the end of our time right now, and I'll say goodbye, hello, and wave to all of our people who are on Instagram Live as well, who have joined us. And I just want to say that actually, here's one thing too. Remember, we have ambassadors. We have ambassadors all over Canada, all over the United States, in Europe, in Australia, New Zealand, South America, all over the world. But everyone watching here is probably in Canada. So if you like these boats and you're curious about these boats, but you want to try them before you buy them, go to our webpage and look for our ambassadors page, where we have Oar Board ambassadors who are willing to share their equipment and show you in a COVID safe way, of course, so that you can try these boats and before you buy them. And if you want to try any other boats, make sure to reach out to us. Diana is in charge of sales for the Oar Board. Michael's in charge of sales for the Classic and the thermoformed Whitehall Spirit boats. Just reach out and see if there's anyone in your area who would be willing to lend you their boat for the day. And we're pretty confident that once you try one of these boats, there's no going back. You'll fall in love instantly. Everyone who purchases these boats, we get love letters every single week from satisfied purchasers of the product. So we're very thrilled about what we've created and the movement that we're pushing, the movement towards healthier people doing healthier things, putting more life in your years and more years in your life. I think we're getting to the end of the time, so I'll push it over to Maureen. So thank you everyone for joining us for this call. And Maureen, thank you for inviting us to the Cottage Life Show.